January 15, 1919, Boston's North End. At 12:30 p.m., a 50-foot tank holding 2.3 million gallons of molasses bursts, unleashing a 25-foot wave of sticky death at 35 miles per hour, killing 21 and injuring 150 in one of America's most horrific disasters. The wave, 40% denser than water, crushes everything in its path. Maria Di Stasio, a 10-year-old collecting firewood, is engulfed, her small body suffocated under the molasses weight, one of the youngest victims. Nearby, her brother Anthony, also 10, is carried on the wave's crest, tumbling like a pebble, choking on the goo until he passes out, miraculously found alive by his sisters. Firefighter George Leahy is at engine 31 when the wave flattens the firehouse, killing him instantly as the structure collapses. The molasses hardens in the winter chill, making rescue impossible. His colleague Ralph Martin, 21, a driver, drowns in the sticky mass, trapped in a pocket of the flooded first floor. His body recovered hours later after rescuers cut through debris. Pasquale Iantosca, another 10-year-old, suffers a gruesome fate as the molasses wave sweeps a train car off the elevated tracks, crushing him. Horses fare no better, dozens suffocate, their struggles futile as the molasses thickens, trapping them like insects. The Boston Post reports, only an upheaval, a thrashing about in the sticky mass showed where any life was. James McMullen, a foreman, is thrown against a building, his skull fractured, dying instantly from the impact. Elizabeth O'Brien, 78, is knocked down in her home on Commercial Street, her jaw shattered as the molasses wave destroys her building. Her sister, found days later, suffers a stroke from the ordeal, her face disfigured by the sticky flood. Caesar Nicolo, an expressman, is swept into Boston Harbor, his body lost in the sticky tide. It's found 4 months later under a wharf, so coated in molasses that identification takes days. The harbor remains brown until summer, a grim reminder of the flood's reach. Rescue efforts are nightmarish. The molasses, cooling rapidly in Boston's winter air, thickens into a gelatinous trap, suffocating victims before help arrives. A Harvard study later confirms the molasses viscosity increased dramatically, hampering rescue. Red Cross nurses dive into the syrup, pulling out survivors like Anthony Di Stasio, while 116 cadets from USS Nantucket brave the knee-deep flood to save lives, but many are too late. Bridget Clawfordie, 65, and her son Stephen, 34, are in their Cops Hill Terrace home when the wave flattens it. Bridget is crushed under the debris, her body unrecognizable in the molasses glaze. Stephen survives but, traumatized, dies of mental illness by December 1919 at Boston State Hospital, the flood's indirect 21st victim. Cleanup reveals the horror's extent. Salt water from the Engine 31 fireboat dissolves the hardened molasses, uncovering bodies like Michael Sinnott, a 78-year-old messenger, suffocated in the flood. It takes 87,000 man-hours to clear the streets, but the sticky residue lingers for years, and residents report the molasses scent on hot summer days for decades, a haunting echo of the disaster. The Great Molasses Flood leaves a scarred North End. Buildings are leveled, the elevated railway twisted and lives shattered. Among the worst deaths, children like Maria and Pasquale, suffocated or crushed, and workers like George Leahy, trapped in collapsed structures. Survivors like Anthony Di Stasio endure lifelong trauma, while the molasses' deadly grip claims victims through suffocation, impact, and despair. Today, a plaque at Langone Park marks the tragedy, but the horror of the Great Molasses Flood lives on in Boston's memory. A sticky, deadly tsunami that turned a sweet substance into a nightmare. Short Fact Wizard, unveiling history's darkest moments.